The air in Bandhavgarh is thick with stories, especially on this August morning in 2025. A langar's alarm echoes, a herd of chital freezes. Every creature seems to sense a presence that's no longer there. This is a kingdom built on memory, and every shadow whispers a single name: Charger. Though gone for years, his legend lingers, woven into the jungle's very fabric. The guides still point out his old haunts, their voices reverent. This was Charger's ground. The younger tigers walk in his shadow, their paths tracing his faded scent marks, their thirst quenched at his waterholes. The laws of this kingdom were written by Charger, and the silence of the jungle is his greatest tribute. Tourists come and go, but the forest waits for something more, the return of a king who can never come back. In Bandhavgarh, Charger's story is not over. It's told by the jungle itself. Charger arrived without fanfare, a young, ambitious male, a force of nature. In the early 1990s, Bandhavgarh was a patchwork of lesser tigers. Charger saw opportunity, not order. His first appearances were fleeting, but his presence unsettled the entire forest. He didn't just hunt, he sought a throne. His rise was swift and brutal. He charged headfirst into battle, overwhelming rivals with audacity and power. Fear was his greatest weapon. Other tigers moved with caution, always listening for his roar. Charger marked his territory with both scent and reputation, crushing challengers without mercy. His conquest was complete when he claimed the lush Chakradara meadow, the park's jewel. From unknown challenger to undisputed king, Charger's shadow fell over Bandhavgarh, beginning an era that would become legend. The forest had a new ruler, and his name would echo for years.
My name is Sanjay. I am a naturalist, a guide, and above all, a lifelong observer of the wild heart of Bandhavgarh. For 30 years, I've called this forest home. I have walked its trails at dawn, listened to the alarm calls echo through the sal trees, and watched the seasons change. But in all these years, I've only seen one true king, Charger. I first saw him as a young male, already different from the rest. Intelligent, fierce, and always alert, assessing us as intruders in his domain. Even then, he carried himself with a confidence that set him apart. Watching him was like witnessing history unfold before my eyes. Every movement, every glance seemed to tell a story of survival and dominance. His charges became legend, his battles left deep marks on trees, and rivals simply vanished from his territory. The forest seemed to hold its breath when he was near. He wasn't just a tiger, he was a personality, a force of nature that shaped the very rhythm of Bandhavgarh. I chronicled his life, his movements, his kills, his partnership with Sita, the legendary tigress. Together they ruled these lands. With her, he was gentle, a patient father teaching cubs to hunt and survive. Their bond was rare, a glimpse into the secret world of tigers. These moments made him a legend, not just a predator. He was a guardian, a teacher, and a symbol of hope for the forest. As he aged, I saw the young challenger bee too test him, a new generation rising to claim the throne. The cycle of the wild continued. Watching Charger slow down was like seeing a monument crumble, a living legend fading into memory. The forest seemed quieter, as if mourning its greatest son. When he finally fell, the forest fell silent. Even the birds seemed to pause, honoring the end of an era. I still feel his presence in Chakradara meadow, where the grass sways as if remembering his footsteps. I tell his story to every tourist, ensuring the king is never forgotten. His legend inspires awe and respect for the wild. Charger was more than a tiger. He was the spirit of Bandhavgarh, and his legacy lives on in every whisper of the wind through these ancient trees.
My world was one of balance, until his scent arrived, raw power choking the air. The forest, once filled with familiar sounds and scents, suddenly felt different, as if every leaf and shadow trembled with anticipation. I could sense the shift, the way the wind carried his presence, unsettling every creature that called this place home. I was young, strong, with my own territory, but his roar was a declaration of war. It echoed through the trees, a sound that made even the bravest animals pause. I had fought for my place, marked every tree, and believed I was untouchable, until he arrived. He didn't respect old boundaries. He walked where he pleased, claiming the land with every step. The rules that had kept the peace meant nothing to him. He was rewriting them, and every paw print he left was a challenge. I saw him once, A massive, purposeful force, hunting not just for food, but for dominance. His eyes were cold, calculating, and every movement radiated confidence. He was a legend in flesh and blood, and the forest seemed to bend around his will. My instincts screamed to flee, but pride kept me in his shadow, always alert. I watched him from the darkness, heart pounding, torn between fear and the urge to defend what was mine. Our fight was inevitable. He found me, and his charge was unstoppable, a storm of muscle and fury. The clash was violent, a blur of claws and teeth echoing through the jungle as the forest held its breath. He didn't kill me. He didn't need to. I was broken, exiled to the park's margins. My wounds ran deeper than flesh, and every step away from my old territory was a reminder of my defeat. From afar, I watched his reign, his mate Sita, their cubs, the best land, the future. He had everything I once dreamed of, and the forest seemed to celebrate his rule. I became a ghost, haunted by his power, his roar a constant reminder of my defeat. Every night his presence echoed in my dreams, a shadow I could never escape. He was king. I was just another shadow he cast aside. The forest no longer whispered my name. It belonged to him now. His existence defined mine, in fear and in loss. Every day I carried the weight of that encounter, a lesson written in scars. The forest belonged to him, and we all lived in his shadow. Charger's reign was absolute, and for those of us left behind, survival meant learning to live with the memory of his power.
My village sits at the forest's edge, where man and beast meet. Here, every day begins with the calls of birds and the distant rustle of leaves, a reminder that the wild is never far away. The boundary between our world and the jungle is thin, almost sacred. We've always lived with tigers, but Charger was different, more spirit than animal, a god in stripes. His presence was felt in every shadow, every whisper of the wind through the trees. He was a legend, even among the other tigers. When he roared, the earth trembled. We lit lamps and prayed for safety. The sound echoed through the valley, a warning and a blessing, reminding us of our place in this ancient land. He never threatened us directly, respecting the invisible line between his world and ours. It was as if he understood the unspoken pact between the people and the wild. Still, his presence was always felt. Deer calls at night, the knowledge he was hunting. The forest would grow silent, and we knew Charger was near, moving like a shadow. We guarded our cattle, but if he wanted one, there was nothing we could do. It was the price we paid for living so close to the wild, a silent agreement with the king of the forest. He commanded respect, almost worship, a wild deity of Bandhavgarh. We offered prayers and garlands, hoping to earn his favor and protection. His stories brought tourists and prosperity, making him an unlikely provider. People traveled from far away just to catch a glimpse of him, and our village flourished in his shadow. When he was dethroned, sadness fell over us. The forest seemed quieter. The mornings felt emptier, as if the spirit of the jungle had faded. His death was the end of an age, but his name lives on in every story we tell. Around the fire, elders recount his feats, and children listen wide-eyed, imagining the great tiger. Charger taught us respect for nature and coexistence. He showed us that the forest is not just a place of danger, but of wonder and balance. In our hearts, he will always rule, his spirit forever woven into the land and the lives of those who remember him.
No king rules alone. Charger's empire flourished when he found his queen Sita. Sita was renowned, intelligent, a successful mother, the most sought-after tigress. Their courtship was a spectacle. Charger, the warrior, became patient and gentle. Their union began Bandhavgarh's golden era. Charger secured the territory. Sita raised litter after litter, their dynasty thriving. Charger, the fierce king, became a protective father, sharing kills and guarding his cubs. Sita was the strategist, teaching survival while Charger provided strength. Together, they were the royal couple, bringing stability to the jungle. Their legacy was not just power, but a thriving bloodline, B1, B2, B3, shaping Bandhavgarh's future. Their partnership defined an era, their story inseparable from the land itself. Time spares no king. Charger's strength faded, his scars mapping a long reign. The jungle sensed change. A new generation waited. Among them, his son B2, large, ambitious, a mirror of Charger's youth. B2, once protected, now saw his father as an obstacle, pushing deeper into his territory. Their confrontations grew tense. Charger relied on reputation, but B2 was relentless. The balance tipped, 2 tigers, 1 crown. Their battle was not a single clash, but a series of skirmishes that wore Charger down. In the end, B2 drove him from Chakradara Meadow, but did not kill him. Charger, stripped of land and pride, became a wanderer in his own kingdom. The old king's reign was over. A new, ruthless ruler now sat on the throne. The seasons had turned in Bandhavgarh. Defeated, Charger retreated to the park's rocky edges, a harsh exile for a king. Age and wounds slowed him. Hunting became a struggle. Once a legend, he was now a gaunt figure, barely noticed by the forest he once ruled. Guides tracked him with sorrow. Tourists glimpsed a living ruin. His health declined. An infected paw made survival harder. In his final hours, he sought solitude in a cave, choosing dignity in death. On a September morning in 2000, his body was found. The king was dead. News spread across India. Charger was more than a tiger, he was an icon. The forest fell silent, mourning not just an animal, but the end of an era. The throne was empty, and Bandhavgarh grieved its fallen king. Power in the wild is fleeting, won by strength, lost to time. Charger's story is the ultimate example. From obscurity to king, his reign defined Bandhavgarh. But all rulers fall. The rise of B2 was nature's way, not betrayal. Charger's defeat was as important as his rise, showing the jungle's harsh law. No king rules forever. Yet some legends outlive their time. Charger's legacy thrives in his bloodline and the land itself. The paths he walked, the waterholes he claimed, all remember him. His story is retold by guides, villagers, and the jungle's silence. Charger became a myth, a symbol of India's wild spirit. Legends never truly die. They become part of the land they ruled. Charger remains the Shadow King, forever a part of Bandhavgarh's wild heart.